Oh, there he is. There's Ron. Good evening, folks. This is Ron Motta. We have Activate Worcester this evening, and really appreciate your taking some time out of your evening to catch up with us to see what we have to talk about today. Actually, two subjects. The key subject today is going to be the election next week, and it's a big one, and obviously we're all aware of it. And we're going to be giving you our personal recommendations of who to vote for and why to vote for them, okay? We're not going to get into all sorts of deep philosophical conversations and so on and so forth. The key that we're using for our input, if you want to call it that, is finances, money. Regardless if you're a left-wing, right-wing, libertarian, Republican, whatever you are, okay, you are being impacted by the economic environment that we're all involved with right now. And we are going to judge every one of the candidates on both sides, or all three or four sides as it may be, based on those criteria, if you will. We're not going to get involved with abortion and all the other stuff that's out there. You know, if you're into politics, you know where they stand and where you stand. And that's something that I've always believed in. Very, very important. Do your research, see what the key issues are, see how the various candidates present themselves, and match their positions against your positions. Very simple. It's not that complicated. And the only other thing I can say is don't be a robot and just go in there and vote automatically because you always vote for this party, that party, whatever. There's a lot riding on this election. This is not a joke. And many things can change in this country and in this state and in this city based on your voting. And the other thing of it is the election is Tuesday, November 8th. There is no excuse for not showing up and voting. You lose your ability or your charter to complain if you don't vote. They have increased the number of voting locations. The waiting time is going to be a heck of a lot less than it's ever been. They've streamlined a number of the elements involved. You know, for example, after you cast your ballot, or before you actually cast the ballot, you used to have to check in and then check out. So they've really streamlined that. Good new equipment that they're using, and I feel, I'm a warden too. And I'm very excited about the prospect of this going over seamlessly, and that's that. Who we have as our political wonk and very frequent guest is Jay Givan, and Jay will be commenting on the different issues, the different candidates, the different ballot questions, and we're going to get this all done in about 25 minutes. One last thing to let you know, obviously I'm not wearing my Activate Worcester outfit today. I'm wearing my Sorrento Italia sweater, I guess you might call it. And that's because yours truly just completed a triumphant tour of the home country. I went to Italy for about 10 days, Rome all the way down the Amalfi Coast. And if ever you have that as an opportunity, you owe it to yourself. Whether you're Italian or not, it doesn't matter. It's just a special, special trip and a special, special place. And yes, you will put on a couple of pounds, but well worth it. You're doing it in the right way. So that being said, let us begin at the beginning, as they say. Okay. Do you want to do the ballot questions first?
I'd like to just kind of set up everything with the economic conditions, and thanks for having me on.
Glad to have you, as always.
So, no matter who you are, whether it's in Worcester, the state, New England, the region, or the country, the economic realities are we are in a recession. Inflation is at a 41-year high. If they calculated inflation the same way they did 41 years ago, inflation would be about 16 to 18%. Interest rates have been going up steadily this year. debt, his another 7 or 8 trillion in spending. Utility rates locally are going up 64%. That's on average about $120 per month. The unemployment rate is low, but if you compare the real indicator of how the economy is going, which is the labor participation rate, that's not dropping. I mean, the unemployment rate is a rate based on how many people are looking for work and so on. The labor participation rate is the hard number, how many people are actually working. And that really has not changed in 2 years. Gas has gone from $2 a gallon. The lowest I paid in 2019 was $1.69. It shot up to, the highest I paid this year was $5.29. It dropped down to about $3.30. It's creeping back up to $4. So gas is still twice what it was last year. And home heating oil.
Despite the fact that we're wiping out our oil reserves.
Right.
To keep those prices down.
Right. In the last administration, the national oil reserve was about 95%, which was a record high. I think we're about 50% at this point.
Less, 30,
okay,
38.
And dropping.
Yeah.
We have about less than a month's supply of diesel fuel. That does not help. We have new military conflicts going on in Europe, Russia. China is on the move. And home heating oil is up to about $5.89. Let's call it $6 a gallon. So the country is not trending in the right condition, in the right direction. That said, we have, I think, 4 primary candidates, at least for Worcester. Jeff Deal is running for governor against the Democrat AG Maura Healey. We have Jeffrey Sosa Parquet, first-time candidate running against the 26-year incumbent Jim McGovern. We have Rayla Campbell, who, her second or third race she's been involved in, running for Secretary of State against Bill Galvin, who I think he first got elected at 1620 when the Pilgrims came over. He's been around forever.
1624, I think.
Yeah, I think so. And Rayla Campbell was actually a historic candidate. I believe she's the first black woman to be nominated to a statewide position. So hopefully she can really become historic. And who was the 4th person? Jay McMahon is running against, I think, Andrea Campbell for Attorney General.
Yep.
And Jay, unlike Jay McMahon, unlike his opponent, is supremely qualified. And he's, I know these people. They're all very decent people. I think you can disagree with them on issue by issue. I think the most outspoken person who is Jeffrey Sosa Parquet. He's openly gay, and everybody knows this. He's criticized those that don't agree with it. You don't have to agree with it. I understand the issues surrounding this, and this is, marriage has been around for thousands of years before it was redefined. I don't want to get into that. I think that's irrelevant to this race. As you said in your opening monologue, this is financial, it's economical, and I don't want to see people not vote for something because they disagree on something, on an issue, on a personal matter, or anything else. This election is extremely critical, and it should be anti-incumbent at this point.
Well, I think
So-
the points you're making are all unfortunate and all very, very relevant. The thing that I would caution you as a voter to beware of are the numbers that they are massaging about where we're at this point. For example, and these are Worcester numbers now, they're saying that rentals are up 10%. In other words, the cost of renting is now up 10%. It seems to be going up 10% a day, not 10% in general. In English, that means if you were paying $1,400 a month, whatever it is, well, 10% on top of that is, another $100, $120. Many, many people that I know or know of have seen their rates go from 11, 12, or 1,400 to 2,000. And that's not an isolated case, and that's a big, big number. Okay, let's talk about food. Yeah, they say food is up 8, 9, 10%. I wish it was up 8, 9, or 10%. When you're paying $6 for a dozen eggs, for God's sakes, you know what it is. Go and try to buy meat or chicken or whatever. They're telling us, that with Thanksgiving coming up in 3 weeks, turkey is up, 13%. You take a look at the numbers, and I've done some shopping recently, and those numbers are so cold and so irrelevant. It's unbelievable. You know it. Gas that you're paying is, basically double what it was a year ago. And now, because we're into November, folks, and I know you know that, start getting your ducks in order money-wise to pay for your oil deliveries, because it's going to blow your doors off. So if you're very, very happy with what you see and with the people that are giving it to us this way, my suggestion is vote exactly the way you always have. Vote for the incumbents, because they'll take good care of you, okay?
If you like your economic decline, you can keep your economic decline. Just vote for the incumbent who gave it to you.
And away you go, and away you go. And let's start at the top. We're going to give you some ideas, and you certainly can keep score on these, or just do it mentally, and you'll know where we're coming from. The big one is the governorship, and that's a huge one, because there's a lot of power that job wields. And Jeff Deal is the fellow who's running for the Republicans, and basically he's a right-to-life guy. He's supportive of gun rights, enforcing the borders. He values the voters. He's a good man. He's a good man. He's not a wild-eyed, radical, conservative, quote unquote. He's a lot closer to where Charlie Baker is and has been. And like him or dislike him, I think Charlie Baker basically has done a good job in a very, very tough environment. And he's very popular. And it seems to me that if you like where Charlie has, the way Charlie has run the state, Deal would be a very, very good successor. Conversely, the AG is Maura Healey, okay? And Maura is running as a Democrat, and Maura is basically a very hard left ideologue, and this is a person that will be 100% in lockstep with Biden. And if you like Biden and you like his policies, if you like the direction the country is going in and the direction your pocketbook is going in, it's real simple. Vote for Maura, because she's going to give you Mora, M-O-R-A, if you will. Her famous comment, and you can look it up if you think I'm making this up, is, America, yes, America is burning, but that's how forests grow.
And she said that during the Boston riots 2 years ago.
Yep. As the Attorney General. She's supposed to be the top cop in the state.
Right.
And if you have somebody like that, her big claim to fame is that she has been very, very aggressive in suing Donald Trump. Okay, that's fine. In essence, she's operated as an attack dog. We have a mess with people being put right out in the streets for a lot of reasons, and so on and so forth, and that's part of the deal. But again, I don't want to stray from the topic, which is money. But again, think of it as a Biden-Maura Healey ticket. She will not be independent of Biden and the powers that be in Washington. That's the game she's going to play, period. So as a result, our recommendation is Jeff Deal.
Well, I do think Jeff is a bit more conservative than Charlie Baker. And this is the best analogy I can come up with. If it becomes Governor Deal, I mean, obviously that's our preference. He's not going to stop the legislature. At times he will, but Jeff Deal will be basically a speed bump to the 90% Democrat legislature. If Maura Healey gets elected and she becomes governor, Maura Healey will be more like a water
It's a
slide.
rubber stamp all the way through.
I think the two big things, since you want to keep this on a financial thing, in 2014, tanked the gas tax, which would have been an automatic tax increase every year on gasoline. Jeff Deal was the leader that squashed that. He defeated that. Maura Healey, by contrast, and she's in debates bragging about this, that she blocked two pipelines that are sitting there in, I think in Wright, New York, somewhere around Cooperstown, just waiting to come into this state. And Maura Healey, when she was taking time off from suing Trump 100 times in 4 years, which is about twice a month, blocked these two pipelines coming in. And now utility rates are increasing 64%, $120 give or take on average in this city. Maura Healey says she's not going to, that she will cut taxes. Nobody buys that for an instance. Jeff, on taxes, Maura Healey's going to be a very vanilla cookie cutter Massachusetts Democrat. Jeff Deal, he supports limited government, lower taxes, less regulation. He's opposed to illegal aliens getting driver's licenses. Maura Healey supports that, and that's really not about getting a driver's license for quote unquote safety. That it's when you get right down to it, it's an illegal alien voter registration drive. So illegal aliens can vote. And that just destroys the integrity of elections from here on out.
It's well said. Let's move to the next race, Secretary of State. Okay. You have a tried and true candidate in good old Bill Galvin. And Bill has been around for a long, long time, and he's basically an old school urban machine establishment Democrat. He is, again, a Biden Democrat, and if you like Biden, continue to vote Bill Galvin in. By contrast, tell us about Rayla Campbell.
She ran against squad member Ayanna Pressley 2 years ago, and this is at the height of COVID, where Massachusetts was, if not the last, one of the last states to change the signature process to get on the ballot. I don't recall all the exact details, but Rayla claims that she was illegally taken off the ballot, or not allowed to be on the ballot, to run against her. She ran a sticker campaign, but those never work. So now she's running for Secretary of State. And I think she'll be a breath of fresh air. I mean, she is a smart girl, a smart woman. She's very passionate, and she wants Election Day to be Election Day. She supports voter ID, and so on and so forth. My one criticism of Raylan, I don't know if she's, what's the best way to put this? I think she could have done a better job so far expressing what she wants to do in the position. And I wouldn't call her a protest vote. And every time I've dealt with Bill Galvin's office, I haven't had all that much trouble. But we're at the point, I don't know, he's his late 70s. He's been around for 40-something years. It's time for a change. And I think just the generation gap between the two. Yep. Bill Galvin's all paper stuff, and Rayla's going to come in and really update things, including the voter rolls.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, moving right along, we have the Attorney General. We have Jim McMahon as a Republican running up against Andrea Joy Campbell. Okay. McMahon is a very, very impressive guy. 30-year trial lawyer, elected GOP state committee man, Attorney General nominee, And he's running against somebody who's basically a Boston City Council president, meaning Andrea Joy Campbell, which means, you know exactly what that means. Rubber stamp, think of it as Biden Campbell. I say no. I say Jim McMahon, who I know is a good man, deserves the vote. He's a good guy. I can promise you that. We then get into, well, Kimberly Driscoll and Lee Allen.
Yeah, well, Jay McMahon, I think resume to position being sought, he is the most qualified Republican or Democrat. His son died of in the opioid crisis.
Yeah.
He's been down at Cass, which is Massachusetts Avenue, Molina Cass Parkway in Boston, and that's where all the drug addicts and you know, I guess the prostitutes come with it, and a lot of the homeless encampments. He wants to get in there, and he's done a lot of videos on his Facebook page and website. He's disgusted by it. He's very sad about it. He wants to fix this. He wants to go after corruption in this state. I mean, he's very pro-police, but he wants to go after the police corruption in this state. He's wonderfully qualified for this position. He's a very decent guy, and you know, I can't say enough good about him. And it would be great if he can get elected. And we haven't elected a Republican AG in the state since 1968.
Remarkable.
So we're due.
It's time to break the status quo, because if not, like I say, when you're going into the voting booth, if you're kind of unsure about these people, just remember a vote for anybody that's a Democrat is a vote for Biden. It really gets back down to that. So, for example, we have a couple of other quick races here. One, another statewide, is the auditor. And a guy who's been spending a lot of money and so forth is Anthony Amore, who's running as a Republican. And strong resume, very powerful guy. And he's running against this Diana DiZoglio. And there are a lot of people jumping up and down about her being really iffy on a number of issues. And she looks good, but the more you unfurl where she's coming from, not so much. So our nod there is to Anthony Amore. And the last one for us to be considering that has any real impetus, because it's right here, is the U.S. Congress, 2nd District, okay? 26 years, I think, and counting. Good old Jim McGovern, okay? We've talked about Jim on this show many times. Jim is a powerful person in Washington, Ways and Means, whatever.
Now the Rules Committee.
Pardon me, the Rules Committee. And we've talked about what he's actually been able to do for Worcester, which is minimal, for 26 years on the job. And he's very much entrenched. He'll be very tough to beat. But again, if you like Biden, you're going to love Jim McGovern, and vice versa. Very simple. It's time for a change. It's time to give somebody a new shot. Jeff is a bright guy, different orientation and so forth. But I believe that the district can use a breath of fresh air, okay? Jim McGovern's not a bad guy, okay? I just don't think he's a really good congressman for this district.
Well, none of this is personal.
No.
The one thing I like about Jeffrey Sosa Paquette, and I disagree with him on a number of issues, he went through an illness. He's had some operations. We don't need to get into that. Yep. I'm not sure exactly what it is anyway. But he really had to rehab the way he speaks, thinks, it just moves. And for somebody to do that takes a very strong constitution. Yep. Whatever you may disagree with him, my disagreements, I think he's kind of a little Democrat light, or rhino, if you want to say that. But on the fundamental issues, for this election, which is economic and financial. He is he's a business owner. He's very pro-taxpayer. And really, that's the bottom line at this point.
That's a good segue because that's it for the candidates. We have about 3.5 minutes left, and we have not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5 ballot questions. The first one is, and you've seen this one banged around a lot, the additional tax on income for people of over $1 million. And a yes vote would amend the state constitution to impose an additional 4% tax on that portion of income of people over $1 million. Well, this is this paranoia. You know, we got to tax the rich, make them pay their fair share. What they're going to do, if you were making $1 million or $2 or $10 million, and you're in a state that's going to whack you for another 4% that you can't bury, you know what you're going to do? See you later, you're out of here. There's no benefit to anybody to have this in.
So this includes home sales, and the bottom line is this. The left argues we need to raise taxes so more money can come in, so we can spend it on this program or that program, and wherever they want to spend it on. But every place this stupid idea has been tried, the wealthy leave the state, and these states end up with less money in the coffers.
Say hello, California.
So it's counterintuitive. Yep. As far as question 4 goes, driver's licenses to illegal aliens, it's not about driver's licenses. It's about running the scam through the registry to get illegal aliens registered to vote. And what else do you need to say? It's about illegals voting.
It's real simple, guys. Definitely vote no. Vote no on 1, which is the tax thing. Vote no on 4. This is pretty simple.
And then question 5, the CPA, basically they want to surcharge all the property taxes in the city, and you combine that with everything else that's going up. It's a stupid idea. It's anti-business. It's anti-residential. It's out of time.
Bottom line is, guys, vote no on all 5. None of them are good for the local taxpayer. Period. Thank you for watching, but guys, please vote. And we'll do a recap on the election after it's completed. So have a good evening. And again, thank you for watching. Share what you've heard tonight with your friends if you don't mind. Appreciate it. And thanks for viewing. Jay, as usual, thanks for enlightening.